My trip using VanCraft's camper van was undeniably incredible. And the experience just left me wanting more. This trip was different than any other trip I've ever taken, simply because I had never experienced camping off-grid using a camper van. I loved this experience. The van itself fit my entire family. There's 5 of us. We had 2 adults up top with the extended little footrest that allowed us to sleep comfortably. And then I have an 8-year-old son who slept beside us. And so we were able to get 3 up top. And then we were able to make up the bed area. And I have 2 teens that were able to sleep there comfortably. We put the shades up in the window so that we didn't wake up the moment the sun came up. We camped in a campground that initially was for tents only. And then we also camped in 2 different places that were on BLM land, and we were camping off the grid. The van worked perfectly for each of these spots. One of the things I loved about my experience with the camper van itself is that we were just able to load our stuff in the van and go. There was no backing up a truck and trying to get, the hitch to line up and set up the trailer and then having to tow and pull something and ending up having the length of your vehicle plus the length of a trailer. It literally was just get in the driver's seat, pull out of the driveway and go. The other thing I loved about it was one of the areas that we camped in particular was called Calf Creek Campground in Utah. This is a tent-only campground. You can't pull a trailer in there. The maximum vehicle length is like 25 feet. The van was perfect because we were able to get in there, find a spot, be comfortable, have the benefits of a campground with a fire pit, picnic table, etc. So we were able to have that outdoor living, but then at night go into the van and really enjoy the perks of sleeping more comfortably than we would have in a tent. While we were there, we saw many other folks either tent camping or who had overland type vehicles or specifically camper vans. We were the only VanCraft van there though. And it was really cool when people are like turning their heads looking at you because you're creeping in and it's like, they see me rolling. Hating. Like, it was just one of those that you drew attention to yourself because the van is so cool in and of itself. Before we started our trip, there's obviously the preparation process. So I retrieved the van. A VanCraft employee had showed me all of the different features that I would need to know. How to use the internet, how to use the water pump, how to get warm water, how to set up the beds properly, etc. It was a wonderful tutorial and I absolutely appreciated that. In addition, there were videos online that I was able to watch that were incredibly helpful and easy for me to just follow along in case I forgot something. So it was having that hands-on experience of somebody showing me how to use the van and some of these intricate details, then having the video resources as a backup, that was huge. I knew that I was gonna be fine, especially having the Starlink on the van. It was like, it didn't matter if I didn't have cell service because I could log on, the push of a button, I'd have internet, and boom, I could figure out something that I needed to make the van work for our scenario. But going back to this process, I pull up into my driveway and we're starting to load our stuff in there, sleeping bags, this, that, whatever. And all of my neighbors are like turning their heads. And then they start coming over and they ask, hey, can we check this out? Like, what is this? This is so cool. Did you buy this? Did you rent this? And I had so many neighbors who were almost sharing that preparation experience with us. They were wanting to be on this trip with us because the van itself gave them a vision inside their mind of what experiences they could be having with their families, even though I was the one who was about to go on this trip. That was really cool. It wasn't about a flex. It wasn't about any of that. It was about community and shared experiences. And speaking on that point, one of the things that I absolutely loved was my van fit perfectly in the RV pad area of my driveway. My driveway is a little bit angled, so getting a trailer in there is a little challenging. And so if I were to just store a trailer there all year long or to have it there temporarily while I was loading up, it would just require so much more effort than having the van, which maneuvers like a vehicle, which you drive every single day. When I first saw the van that we were gonna take, which was the Altera version, it's one of their largest versions. It was decked out with just a ton of features. 2 seats in the front, bathroom and shower in the van itself, an additional shower option in the back, sleeps 5 to 6 comfortably, depending on the size of the bodies you're putting in there, and has the ability for you to pull out an awning off the side. Like, there's just so much here. Lots of storage underneath in the back. We were able to pack that thing and rock and roll. But my first experience setting eyes on that thing was just like, wow. This thing is a statement in and of itself. The first time I set eyes on the van, they grew 3 sizes that day. It was like Jim Carrey in The Mask, where his eyes get big and then his tongue rolls out and boom, it's all over the table. You're just salivating, thinking, what experience am I about to have with this van? What memories am I going to create? VanCraft was great about thinking through the details on the interior and the exterior. The Mercedes Sprinter chassis, this is a great vehicle. It's easy to drive, you're highly elevated, you have great clearance with the way that VanCraft has set this up and built it out. There was never a time where I was afraid to go off-road, or there was never a time where I felt unsafe driving it at high speeds on the interstate or windy mountain roads. As soon as I got back from my trip, my friends asked me, would you rather have a van like that, or would you rather have a truck and a trailer? I think the experiences are very different. For me, personally, and my family, I would rather have the van. Here's why. 1, it drives like a car should. Regular operating procedures for a vehicle. I've been driving for many years and I know how to drive. Anytime you're pulling a trailer, you have to think differently. You have to behave differently. And you're constantly worried about what your experience is going to be like if you meet certain conditions on the road. Are you going to have the clearance you need? Are you going to have the space you need to turn around? Are you going to be able to fit in different sites? What is your experience going to be like on BLM land or in tight spaces, etc.? The van, you still think about that because it's larger than a normal vehicle, but you're not worried about operating it in a way that you might crash it or you might run into a tight squeeze. It has the cameras around. The 360 camera system is amazing. The positioning of the reverse camera when you're backing up, all of it works really well and you just feel comfortable driving it. So for me personally, I like the idea of being able to park this at my house without it being an eyesore. I like the idea of me not having to winterize it, me not having to find a different lot to be able to park this in and store it long term, depending on HOA in my neighborhood or different things like that. And I like the ability to just throw some things in there and go. The swiftness in which you can pack up and get on your adventure is undeniably an advantage when comparing this to other things like even tent camping, camping in a trailer, etc. I also love that you're not dealing with hookups and you're not dealing with draining things the same way as you would with a trailer. Also, this van in particular that we rented was completely self-sufficient. That thing had solar panels on it that would charge the batteries. The batteries would charge while you were driving. Not once did I ever worry about not having power, internet, or water. My trip took me from Utah County about 4 hours away toward Capitol Reef National Park and almost Bryce Canyon National Park. We did a trip where we went down to a place called Calf Creek Falls. We camped in a campground. After that, we drove Highway 12 toward Capitol Reef again. We camped on BLM land about 7 minutes outside of the national park. It was incredible. We set up shop there for the night, and then we went over toward Goblin Valley State Park, which is a bit more rural in Utah. Outside of Goblin Valley State Park, we found some BLM land, and it was absolutely phenomenal for us to pull up next to this cave, be able to balance out the van, get out our gear, and be able to just enjoy the scenery with nobody else around. And I wasn't worried about an emergency happening because I had Starlink. During this trip, it also started to rain, And I wasn't worried about getting stuck or trying to hook up a big trailer or a big rig back to my truck based on my experience. I was able to move when I needed to move, be nimble when I needed to be nimble, and the entire experience was incredibly flexible, and it just worked for my family. So when comparing trailer versus van, unless you're a family that really needs the space of a trailer, the van, that was my choice. To sum it all up, I'd say this: the adventure is making the memories with your family or having those experiences for yourself. The van is the tool that enables you to have that experience. I 100% would love to own one of these vans. My wife said to me at least 5 times during this trip, we need to buy one of these. That's how impactful and easy the experience is. There were moments where she was driving this with cliffs on each side of the highway while I was capturing drone footage. And she's kind of a nervous driver. The entire VanCraft experience was undeniably wonderful. If you're thinking about buying a camper van or you just want to experience one by renting it, go check out VanCraft. Highly recommend.